guess who's back? I haven't really been gone that long, but I guess I've been gone long enough. So today is a really nice day. And since I've been accused of never driving my car or doing anything with it by my coworkers, my family, my friends, today is the day I'm going to take it out. I guess I can really finally tell you guys about my car, really give you some backstory on it. And yeah, it is a really nice day outside. It is a little warm though, and it's not the greatest, but it is what it is. Like, it's very sunny. But anyway, we're gonna go cruise around San Diego and some parts and see what we see. We're gonna talk about the car. I'm gonna finally tell you everything that's been done to it, everything I plan on doing with it, and then yeah, I think it's finally come for this car to finally get some real recognition, if I haven't put enough of content out there about it. But some real stuff about that little beast right there. So I'm going to get the tripod set up on the back of the car. I'm using the GoPro 360 camera. It's the 360 thing. I think that's sacrilege right there, but whatever. Like, I got the stuff I got. But yeah, give me a little bit. I'm going to set this up, and then we're going to take off down the road. So I legit don't know if I mentioned how hot it is out here, but this thing is a pain in the butt to set up every time. Now I could leave it on the car, but I don't know. I feel like that wouldn't look right. But basically, you snap it into place how you want it, get it set up, get all your angles, hope it's right, and put it on very, very loose. That way, once you get it where you want it, then you tighten all the stuff up. But again, get your setup, play with it, see how you like it, and go from there. this car, I used to always ride with the windows up and the car in like not any kind of fun mode because it was so loud. But now I can actually like have the windows down. It's pretty cool. Makes a lot of cool sounds that I like now. And yeah, let's just cruise and see what we get into. I think I'm gonna go by the beach and then we can do like a couple of walk-arounds in the car and we can really talk about some of the stuff that we've done so far. I almost forgot to mention, if you notice in the video, I'm not ripping it just yet. It's because this car had a true cold start and it is it's really hard on components when you just hop in the car and start ripping it. So I'm actually letting the car come up to temperature first, but you will definitely get some of those rips you've been looking for. Let's see if we can. Yep, the heat's coming up just perfectly on here. I can feel the tires starting to get the grip in them. Like, plus it's a really, really nice day outside. So I found a nice, quiet parking spot at the beach, and let's just jump right into it and talk about this car. But you know what? I'm going to put on my hat because it is sunny out here. Oh, it's a little bit better. Not much better, but a little bit better. But anyway, let's jump right into it. So this right here is my 2017 Audi R8 V10 non-plus. And I want to emphasize that it is not the Plus model. What you get with the Plus is some of the features that I didn't personally need with it. I want a car that's comfortable, not track focused all the time. That's why I chose this car. The second reason I ended up getting this car was I went to this shop called California Motorsports. They sold me this car at a really good price. I thought it was a good idea to get the car from them because a friend of mine who has another shop, it's called California Motorsports, and I'm like, man, that dude's always been good to me. What are the chances of another company being called California Motorsports? And yeah, long story short, I ended up getting a car. You know, I kind of have those, like, I don't know, sometimes you like see something you think it's fate or whatever. I get weird about that stuff sometimes, and I go with my gut on that, which on this one turned out to be a good purchase. So I'm going to open up the front, and we'll just start from the front to the back. So on my car, let's get that opened up. This is the one thing I don't like about this car, is that you actually have to like halfway start it to open the hatch. And since I got the camera on there, it's got a little bit too much weight on there, but it'll still do what it does. Man, this video is gonna suck because the lighting is terrible for right now. But anyway, we'll start from the front. So in the front area, I no longer really have a front area because I have what Sheepey put in is the tank and pump to provide more cooling volume to the car, because when you run the twin turbo setup, the factory cooling is not enough. You have to have more capacity. So basically it adds I want to say 3.5 more gallons of water. I might be wrong, I might be butchering this, but it adds a little bit more cooling capacity. That is ran into the factory cooling, which is pretty cool because it keeps it with a factory look, minus the part where you lose your frunk. I could still put, you know, a gym bag or something up here, but honestly, with all the connections, and I can just throw stuff in my passenger seat or on the floor because nobody really rides with me that much, so it's not that big a deal. When we go on road trips, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'll say that's what my wife's Corvette's for. A lot of stuff goes in her car. On the interior of the car, as you can see here, it is pretty much as stock appearing as it needs to be. I thought it would be cool to get the little roll cage that Sheepey had for my car while I was there, but I was like, you know, like why? Like I don't want to do it right now. But yeah. As far as the rims and tires go, I have the factory rims and tires on there. They're Michelin Cup sport tires. They're pretty good. I want to put Toyo 888Rs, but for the size tire that I have and or the size rim I have and the way the car sits, I can't fit one in there for what I needed to do. So I'll have to exercise other options, but we'll get to that later. That's going to be I guess when I bought the car, be the first version of it. Modifying it to 2.0, and then the 3.0, the final version, or not even the final version, just the next stage of it will be the 3.0. So right now, let's call this the 2.0 stage. The next part is the part that everybody loves, the rear section. You get the little Sheepey decals right there. Again, for the most part, very stock looking. So if I get pulled over, I'm totally going to go, hey, I just threw stickers on there because I thought they were cool, and be like, hey, my car is pretty compliant because I think it's good enough until I get it, you know, back to my home state. That's kind of what I'm going with. The other giveaway down here is the turbos, and there are two of them. This car has a Garrett, I hope I don't get this wrong, it's a Garrett 35-1050. Which means each turbo can flow enough air for 1,050 horsepower. I think that's at the optimal flowing, but they can outflow that any day of the week. And trust me when I say this car has no problem flowing air. It has no problem flowing air. So, me personally, there's always that debate of why didn't you go supercharger? I'll tell you why I did not go supercharger. Is it more reliable? Who knows? Who cares? You're in a car that you drive either daily it or you don't. You're either going to drive your car or you're not, right? When you come down to like, oh, you want to get a supercharger because it's more reliable, whatever, it's belt driven. You have to have power to make power. If you have a stock R8 and you throw a blower on there, it's not going to make a lot of power, and the cost is not really there. Like, in my opinion, the dollar per horsepower didn't add up when it came to a supercharger kit. With the twin turbo kit, you make decent horsepower and there's always room to upgrade. I mean, like a supercharger, you can upgrade it to a level, but it gets to a point to where it's kind of like stalls out. That's all you can do. The twin turbo, on the other hand, like you can always throw a different tune on it. You can go E85. You can go different heat exchangers. You can go. There's so many things you can do. And that's why I chose a twin turbo setup. The other reason, which I've mentioned this a few times, the supercharger setup would keep your aftermarket exhaust or your stock exhaust, whichever you're running. For me, my exhaust was so obnoxiously loud that the supercharger would just amplify more, and I didn't want that. The turbochargers, I like the way they sound. They're a lot quieter, a lot more smoother. Once you learn how to deal with boost, the drivability, nothing changes. Every vehicle that I own right now has some sort of power adder on it. Whether it be my wife's Z06 that is supercharged, my Duramax truck that's turbocharged, my R8 which is turbocharged, or my wife's Yukon Denali which is also turbocharged. Again, you learn how to you get used to the boost. You learn how to play with it. You understand. You know, you understand how to drive it. Basically, you relearn how to drive, but you learn and understand really quickly how to run, you know, a boosted car. I feel like with this camera on my car, though, I should take it off and do my videos regular because it's bringing a lot of attention, and I don't really want that right now. Which is weird that I'm saying that because I'm out in a supercar. So, yeah, I'm going to take this down. So give me a moment and I'll be right back. And just like that, I'm back. And I think now this is the optimal sun to eye squinting ratio that I should do. Oh yeah, about right there, somewhere in there. But anyway, let's go to the next part. You know, we already did the supercharger versus turbocharger. horsepower per dollar, turbochargers win. Noise wise, in my opinion, if you like it a little quieter, turbochargers win. Tuning wise, unlimited tuning when you have a turbo kit on your car or a twin turbo kit on your car. So again, turbocharging wins. Let's go to the next reason of why I got an Audi R8 as opposed to the Lamborghini. So a lot of my friends and family and coworkers know that I originally did not want an R8. I wanted a Lamborghini Huracan. Well, actually, I didn't. I wanted a Lamborghini Superleggera Gallardo. I wanted an 08, and I wanted to twin turbo that because I just thought that was just the coolest car ever. I found one, sat in it, and I realized, like, you don't want to meet your hero. This car wasn't it. So then I was like, okay, cool. I like Bluetooth. I like all the newer fancy stuff. I would like to get the Huracan. I sat in that. I've ridden in one. I wasn't impressed. It was very aggressive. It was cool, but it just didn't feel. It wasn't it for me. So I started looking at the poor man's Lambo, which is the R8. I sat in here. It was just way more, in my opinion, luxurious. Way more comfortable. I could see myself road tripping in this car, and I knew as soon as I sat in it, and I knew I loved it. Then when the guy started it, which is kind of his fault because he knew as soon as he started the car that I was going to buy it on the spot. I didn't haggle with him or anything. The price is already good, so I didn't want to try to like beat him up on the price. But as soon as he started it, and with that soul exhaust on there, like I knew like I was leaving with that car. The funny thing is I financed his car. And the guy, like when I came in there, he didn't. I could tell that he didn't think he was selling me a car. But it goes back to that whole saying of never judge a book by its cover. He told me what the down payment was. Didn't bat an eye. Didn't bother me. It told me what the payment was probably going to be. I'm like, that's it. Like, shoot, I can get two of them. Like the payment wasn't a problem at all. And he's like, yeah, and financing companies are really difficult to finance these cars. When he ran my credit and submitted it to the bank, they got back to him like within an hour. I was sitting there for an hour because like I had never waited that long to get approval from a bank. Like that was weird for me because I've always like been like a 15-20 minute thing, and they tell me my rates and all that. Like it took an hour, so I was like, man, is this guy like, dang? I guess buying a a supercar is a little bit different. And I was starting to worry, but then he's like, yeah, you'll come back in a few days, and we can do the paperwork and all that. And I was like, what? And as soon as he said that, he's like, wait a minute. He's like, I got an email real quick. Let me check it. He checks it, and he's like, you're approved. And like the way he said it, like made me question myself. I'm like, I'm approved, which I should have been like, yeah, I know, but like again, I had never waited that long for financing on a vehicle, so it was just really weird. But yeah, I got a super good rate, super good down payment, super good payment, and I drove off that day. And he told me, he's like, hey, I've sold a lot of cars here, and he's like, unless I'm doing a cash deal, he's like, usually like it takes 1 to 3 days to get your financing lined up. So I was like, I thought that was pretty cool that I was able to pull that off. And literally, I went to his office at like 4 in the afternoon after they smogged the car, cleaned it up and all that. I was driving out by like 6:30. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's how I ended up in an R8 and not a Huracan. I do still want to get a Huracan to say I have one. But I don't know, because it'd be kind of stupid because literally it's the same car. Like, it's literally the same 5.2 motor. If I do get a Huracan, I prefer the 610-4 because I do like to, we drive our car in the winter up into the hills and stuff like that. So it's cool to like be able to have all-wheel drive. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. I just don't really. My wife's car is rear-wheel drive, and it's fun, but whatever. So that's that on the car. Like that's how I ended up in this car. And I want to say I bought this car either 2 or 3 years ago, which brings me to the next point. Owning an R8 is cool, but if you're like me, you don't really have a lot of time to drive it. So between work, family activities, and the few days off that I get, I don't get a lot of time to drive my car. My son's in baseball, my daughter's in gymnastics, my son's also in jiu-jitsu, my wife does CrossFit. I go to the gym. Like, we have a pretty healthy schedule. Oh, and on top of that, all the school activities. It seems like there's a new one every week. But yeah, between all that, like, we just don't have a lot of time. So like, my wife's Corvette, she takes it out during the week when she goes to the gym and when she's like running little errands where she can throw stuff in it. Mine, it for the most part just sits. So if you ask me, yeah, it was stupid to dump, you know, an insane amount of money into a car that just sits. But hey, like, it is what it is. I enjoy it the few times I do drive it. I think since I've gotten it back, I've put, oh man, I wish I had tracked this. I should do better about this. But I put about 300 to 500, maybe 600 or 700 miles on the high end since I've had this kit put on the car. And I can say I've had one issue with the car. And when I called Alex at Sheepey, I didn't even call him, to be honest with you. I literally texted him a picture of it. He sent a truck the next day. I called him Monday. I want to say the truck came Monday. They picked up my car, and my car was back on Tuesday. And I didn't expect it. I thought my car was going to be back like a few weeks or something, you know, because, you know, I don't consider myself like a high-profile client or anything, but I can say this about him. He treats all of his clients kind of the same. You do have these shops where they go like, oh, this is my high-end client. And yes, they do cater to them as they should. You know, as a business owner, you should. But I figured like, hey, I'm an entry-level customer. We don't know each other. You'll get to it when you get to it. I'll get my car back when I get it back. But no, like, absolutely not. My car is on a lift, repaired, and back in my driveway the next day. I remember when he dropped my car off, he had his shop hand do it. Cool dude too, man. Real cool dude to talk to. I hope he's going to do some big things when he gets going. But anyway, he dropped my car off the next day, and I wasn't expecting it. I was literally on my couch playing on my phone. I think my daughter was like, I think we were having a tea party or something silly. I can't remember. But there was like a knock on the door, and my wife's like, hey, it's that guy from Sheepey, because she's looking through the camera. And I jump up, I'm like, what's going on? And then I see my car in the driveway, and he's like, yeah, it's done. I took it for a quick rip. Everything was okay, and away we went. So I couldn't not recommend that shop more. Like, that shop is phenomenal. When I took my car there, he told me, hey, your car will be done in 3 weeks. I kid you not, my car was done in 3 weeks. He found an additional oil leak on my car, which I'm not going to admit that I kind of knew about it, but the shop that changed my oil, they said, hey, we saw something that looks like a leak, but we don't have time to look at it today. It was kind of like one of those things. But anyway, Alex saw it, told me about it, and he said, hey, I can have this fixed. It's just a couple of O-rings. I'll have it done in about a day. And literally, my car was done at the exact time that he said, you know, it was done. So not an issue. Again, I highly recommend that shop for your Audi Huracan, and I guess McLaren, because he had a lot of those in his shop too. And yeah, they're doing some awesome things over there. Cool guy to talk to. If you have questions, he will answer them. Very, very knowledgeable. A lot more professional than some of the other shops that I previously thought I was going to work with before I settled with him. I know for a fact I made the right choice going with them. I think this video is starting to get long-winded because we're talking about a lot of other things and not specifically the car. But I'll say this, I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but I love this car. If you get the chance or opportunity to hop in one, do it. I think you'll be amazed. It's got the power. It's got all the amenities that you'll like. It checks off all the boxes for me. Except for one. The doors don't go up, but I'm not putting that stupid Lambo kit on the doors to do that, because I feel like, you know, you don't do that fake stuff. You just buy the car that does it. But other than that, I'm going to get out of here. You guys, it was really cool telling you guys about the history of the car to me. And we'll check you later. Peace.